Hello, this is Brendan Snell, and this is my Sprint 3 individual progress demo. In this sprint, I'm working on the enemy spawner implementation for each stage. When the game starts, the stage 1 spawner is started when the stage 1 starts, which is obviously the first stage of the game, and that stage 1 spawner is a thread that creates a stage 1 object and then uses that object to pull out different enemy objects that have patterns built into them. And the thread itself determines when and how many and that kind of stuff and which pattern to use. So the thread is what determines how they appear, but the object or the stage 1 object is what contains the enemy objects that have how they move. The thread just determines how they appear. And then when a stage changes through the temporary buttons, the game data detects the change, stops the spawner of the previous stage, and then starts the spawner of the next stage. And currently the spawners are all exactly the same. So I will only show you the stage 1 spawner whenever I get to the demo. And here's a little relationship diagram for all of the stages and game data. As you can see, all 3 stages currently have the same amount of enemies in them. That's temporary and for debugging. And what each enemy does is it creates an enemy object, overrides the update function inside that enemy object, and then has how it is going to move, the pattern in which it will move inside of that update function. So when the stage 1 spawner, for example, first starts, it has a loop that makes 5 enemy 1s and then layers them, spaces them out, and then the enemy 1 pattern is to move forward and then move up and down on the screen without ever going off the screen until they die. So the stage 1 spawner just tells how many they're going to show up, and the enemy object basically handles everything else. So after, in the stage 1 spawner right now, after the enemy 1s spawn, and after a short period of time it will start spawning enemy 2s, which just randomly appear somewhere off the game panel and then will fly into view and then fly all the way to the other side of the screen if they don't get destroyed. And then enemy 3 actually will just appear at the top of the game panel and then just keep spawning all the way down. So you'll just get a whole line of them coming all the way down. And that's just to demonstrate what the spawner can do and how the enemies move and stuff. So the enemy 3 actually just moves in a straight line, but it is spawned in such a way that each one is lower than the one before it. So let me give a little demo of that. So here you can see all those enemy 1s came out and they start bouncing up and down, and then the enemy 2s, which are just dotted around in random places, and they keep coming forward. And then here you can see the enemy 3s actually. They start at the top and then they just start showing up and then progressively are lower than the one before it. So those are all 3 of the enemy types currently in the stage 1, and is just the framework for me to be able to spawn other enemies, other types of enemies for the other stages. Thank you.